Hey guys, I am back. Unexpected video, spur of the moment video. A video generated by the last unboxing we did by the knife of the month for Monthly Knife Club for the Onyx. The ZT 0375. I really like this knife. I've been carrying this knife since I got it. I really enjoy it. But through the comments of the video, what people have been saying is that what we basically have here is a ZT edition of the Kershaw Link. And, so that really got me, and I love the Kershaw Link, and I have a couple right here. And as people were saying that, if you watch the unboxing of this, and I'll put the unboxing for this in the end screen so you can check it out if you want. I kept saying through the whole video, like, it really reminds me of an older Kershaw style, of an older, little Kershaw knife, and I really dig it. And turns out, as I was reading the comments, a lot of people were comparing it to the Kershaw Link and saying, well, you could just buy a Kershaw Link for a lot cheaper. They make one with the same steel and everything. And I had to go check that out. I had to compare. And I actually put a lot of time in. And so here's the end result. If I was a Facebook fact checker, it would be like yes and no. Well, actually, I'm going to tell you the truth. So I don't know. I wouldn't be a Facebook fact checker. But so is it a derivative of a Kershaw Link? Yeah, I would say so. Because remember, Kershaw and ZT come out of the same stable. They're KAI. It's the same overall company. But there are some small but important differences between the ZT 375 and the Kershaw Link that make them different knives, and that really speak to the different prices in the knives. And I'm not here to advocate for one over the other. I'm here to show you some of the, point out the differences and let you decide for yourself. Now, the one place online where I found basically all of the models that are currently for sale available was Blade HQ. So when I quote prices and everything, I'm quoting them from Blade HQ. Not MSRP from KAI from their website. This is, at the time of recording this on August whatever 2020, they're the prices that they're available for on Blade HQ. When you watch this, it may vary, but so the Kershaw Link is in some models a pretty affordable EDC knife. You have the option, generally speaking, of a few different blade steels, a couple different blade steels, and aluminum or glass-filled nylon, which is basically a plastic scale. This is one that I have that is one of the basic models. Okay. It's a 420 HC blade, anodized aluminum scales with a plastic backspacer. It's a conventional clip, not deep carry. I don't have one of the glass-filled nylon, one of the plastic scale models available to me. But here is the Kershaw Link, right? And now we're going to open up the 0350. 20 CV blade, G10 scales, comes with the deep carry clip. This actually has a polymer, and there is a difference between polymer and plastic, by the way, but polymer backspacer. Slightly different construction in the body screws that we'll talk about as we go. You can see that there are, like I said, some differences that we'll talk about as we go. But yes, they are very, very similar in terms of size and shape and blade. So the base level, that you would pay for the 420 HC blade from Blade HQ, if you get the glass-filled nylon, the GFN scales, $39.95. The aluminum, $49.95. The ZT 375, $148. So that's quite a disparity in price. Okay, that's a big difference. In between your 420 HC blade, there's a couple other to choose from. Now there is another version that I don't have, and I'll throw a picture in for you. But it is also a 20 CV blade, and it is a fancier anodized aluminum scale handle, and it is $79.95. Okay, but it's a link. Now you might be saying, well, same blade steel, right? Same general size and shape. It's still $80 versus $148. We'll talk about that too. This is an S35VN version. This was an exclusive for House of Blades. I don't know if any of these are left. This comes with a deep carry clip. This also comes with an anodized aluminum backspacer instead of plastic or polymer. Other than that, it's just the same as the 420HC. As you can see, and all other measurements are the same. There was an M390 version that is no longer sold. Now, I can't remember the exact price of this one. It was either in the neighborhood of the 148 or a little less expensive. It being a exclusive edition, adds a little bit to the price and everything, but still good steel and everything. And I think a lot of people think about, anodized aluminum and all this, why it should be more expensive, not less. So what is up with the price difference? And is one version better than the other? How does it all shake out? So that's what we're really going to look at. When we think about the difference in price, you really have to break it down to how they're built and what they're made out of. So, of course, there is the difference in blade steel. 420HC, not a very high-end steel. Okay? 20 CV is a premium steel. It's great. But it's not just the steel that these knives are made of. You have to think about the blade itself. Now, if you look at the shape, okay, it is an identical shape, but ZT has gone a little bit farther with a little bit more production into that blade that actually I think makes it a little bit more functional, and I talked about this during the unboxing. They added some jimping. They added a really nice little rest for thumbs and fingers there for giving you a little bit more control of the blade. Now, is that a big deal? We can debate it, but what it is it's more milling. It's more manufacturing. It's extra time on the line, and it's extra tooling, wear and tear on their manufacturing. Okay. Also, you've got a slightly thicker billet of steel, and it's visible. When I read you the numbers, it's not that much. The Kershaw Link has a 2.8 millimeter thick blade. The 357 has a 3.1 millimeter thick blade. Is that really a big deal? I mean, when we talk about the numbers, well, in terms of just numbers, no. But again, that thickness goes to wear and tear on machining, manufacturing, and actual blade strength. The little bit of extra steel really does add to strength of the blade. So you're physically paying for more metal. You're paying for more machining of the metal. And that goes into it. Now again, I'm not saying it's a better knife because it's more expensive. I'm showing you that there are actual differences. It's not just a Kershaw Link thrown with a ZT emblem on it. I actually looked into this a lot. If you look into the hardware that puts it all together, that is also a little bit different. You've got a much bigger and more reinforced pivot on the 357 than you have on the Link. And you can see that on both sides. And yeah, it is actually, looking at it, I'm not going to disassemble them now because we'd be messing with the speed safe, the springs and everything. But it is actually a bigger, tougher pivot in the 357 than it is in the Link. So again, more materials, not by fractional amounts, but more materials, tougher build, tougher knife overall. The way that the Link goes together in all models is you've got these barrel nuts and you've got your screws, much the way that a Hinder would go together. You've got a very Kershaw esque assembly, also the same way Striders are built, where you have these little collar nuts and screws in the 357. If you get a problem with a stuck screw in one of these, you are stuck and screwed. Basically, there's almost no way to get it out. This gives you option of being able to grab some material and work on it a little bit more. I would not recommend Loctiting any of them at all because it can be a real production to get out. But just different way it goes together. Versatility of the clip is the same in all the models. Again, we're talking about, when we talk about the plastic handled one, it all fits, but you've got the left or right tip up only. Now, most of the links come with this conventional non-decarry clip. You can buy aftermarket clips. You can actually manage to wiggle a hinderer clip on here. But you can see there is a difference in the clip that comes with the ZT versus the deep carry clip on the Kershaw. So a little less intrusive, a little tighter, a little tougher material than what comes here. All the knives, all of them together are liner locks. But this is where we enter another big thing that is a small detail that really makes a difference. If you hold the knives up, you may be able to see, just looking at it, that the liners on the 357 are twice the thickness, twice the size. It's all the same stainless steel of the Link. So you have 1mm stainless steel liners on all models of the Link. You have 2mm stainless steel liners on the 357. What does that mean for you? Well, number one, it means, what it would mean is heavier weight. But, okay, so these are not skeletonized. There's no metal cut out to lighten it up. They have skeletonized liners here on the 357. But since this is a liner lock knife, what it actually means is you've got a bigger, stronger piece of metal locking up your blade with the 357 than you do on any version of the Link. You have 1 full millimeter more of steel holding that blade in place than you do on any version of the Link. And, that might not sound like a lot, but think about how much metal actually comes into contact on any liner lock knife when it engages. So that extra millimeter of metal really provides you with a good, sturdy lock. It also provides them the width to make this more comfortable chamfered lock on the 357, whereas you just have the straight liner on the Link. And I'll tell you, I personally do think it's a little bit more comfortable that way. I think, honestly, ease of access is the same either way. In fact, it might be a little bit easier to access the lock on the Link, but comfort is there a little bit more with the 357. But that sturdier lock is another thing that you're getting with the more expensive knife. Again, more materials, more machining. ZT is just out to improve and give you a sturdier knife. Something that's interesting is that the width of the knife changes. I want to say dramatically, but it depends on how you define dramatically. But between the aluminum, the plastic, and the G10 scaled knives. So the width of all the aluminum handled ones, and this includes the 20CV bladed Link with all its fanciness, is 12.4 millimeters. And that goes up to a 15.25 millimeters for the plastic ones. Now, I don't know why that is. It's essentially the same knife, but it's a little bit wider. All the way down to 11.2 millimeters for the G10 version. Why? I don't know, go figure. But what does that lead to? That leads to the amount of space in your pocket that it takes up. That's a big deal to some people. Depending on what you pack in your pockets with your knife or just pocket access in general, the slimmer size might really be a factor for you. If it's not a big deal, maybe it's not. Maybe it's worth it to have the bigger knife taking up a little bit more real estate in the pocket, but saving a bigger chunk of money. But that is a real difference there between 11.2, 12.4, and 15.25 millimeters. Weight is also different. So at the low end of the spectrum, you have an even 4 ounces for the plastic handled one, up to 4.8, almost 5 ounces for one of the aluminum handled ones, and then back down to 4.2 ounces for the G10 version. So not a really wide spectrum, but if you are in a situation where we say ounces make pounds, you've got some options there. There are some people that are very, very specific about the amount of weight they carry around, and they do count every ounce, every fraction of an ounce, and they want the very lightest knife they can carry. There's some people that like a heavier knife. I kind of like a heavier knife. I really like the weight of all the links, though. I think that they're all just pretty much perfect. You know, but that's a personal preference thing. You know, and that again goes to the materials and everything else. The thing about the 357 though that really stands out is it is the only one of the whole group that offers you a G10 scale. Now, again, do you care about that? I don't know, maybe you do. G10 is an amazingly resilient material. It is a great heat insulator. It is super tough. It is, you know, it's the backbone of kind of the knife industry. You can do a lot of personalization with G10. You can do a lot of things with it too. But here's the thing about G10 versus plastic or even aluminum. And this is going to sound crazy, but this is the absolute truth. It costs more and causes way more wear and tear on your tooling, on your drill bits and your end mills to cut through repeatedly G10 than it does plastic, obviously, or even aluminum, which is, you know, aluminum is a relatively soft metal. G10 eats up machinery, G10 eats up drill bits, and it eats up your milling equipment. So why is there such a difference in price when you're looking at the ZT version? Because it just costs more in manufacturing to produce. It does. And when you look at all those different factors of how it's made, it adds up. It is always personal preference what you carry and is it worth it to you. I love a G10 handled knife. It is so easy to modify for your personal preference. I want to put another choil here. I want to put some grooves there. I love the feel of G10. There's a light texturing on this that you don't get with the other materials. It feels really good. I like the style. I really do like this knife. It is expensive, I know, but with all the features that go into it, I think it's worth it. However, at the lower end, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the Link. The Link is also a great knife that feels good. It is comfortable. Clip is much more noticeable in your hand. The deep carry clip, not so much. But it's all a matter of what are your preferences and what is your budget. Whether you spend the $39.95 to get the standard, glass-filled nylon plastic handled Link in 420HC, or you have the money and the desire to spend $150 on the 375 or the 357, sorry, and get the done-up one from ZT. Either way, you're getting an awesome knife to put in your pocket. You really are. What you're getting, I think, my opinion, with the ZT is you're getting durability. You're getting some better engineering in terms of features, and you're getting the benefit of hindsight. You're getting. We looked at the Kershaw was able to put out the Link, and then say, here's what we could have put into it to make it a superior product, and then they rolled out with the improved version with ZT, and they were able to throw a little bit more into it and say, here. This is now the premium version, because that's really, honestly, guys were right. It is the premium version of the Kershaw Link. That was terrible. Did you see what I just did there? Oh my God! But it is really, if we have the base model, we've got the fancier models with better steels. This would be the premium, top of the line version of the Kershaw Link. And whether or not you're going to spend that money or if it's worth it is really your decision-making process. Like I said before, and I think I said in the middle, I'm not trying to sell you on any one of them or advocate for one over the other or put one down because it's cheaper or the materials. I think you've got a solid knife in your hand no matter which choice you make. As we were having those discussions in the comments, I really wanted to get into it and make sure that I could arm people up with some knowledge and kind of sort out, did they just repackage the Link with a ZT name on it and make it more expensive? Because we've said in some other reviews with some other brands, if this had a fancier name like ZT or Spyderco, they would be X amount of dollars. Were they doing that, or is there a real difference? So there are some differences, not huge, but really important differences that go into why is this a much more expensive knife. So this was a little technical, not so glitzy or fancy, but I hope it was of interest and maybe of a little bit of help to some of you guys out there. I don't know if I'd actually call this a viewer request, but I hope it's a viewer helpful video. And, you know, these are kind of some of the videos I like to do best, where maybe I can actually, you know, not just show off some fancy stuff, but really help some folks out there make a good decision. So that's what I got. I do love this knife, though, and I've been carrying it since I opened the box, and I love it. I love it to death. So any hoo-ha, please remember that you guys are all absolutely awesome. I appreciate every single one of you, and I will be back again real soon.